This is the perplexing saga of the Great Emu War, a chapter in Australian history so bizarre it feels like fiction. Welcome to Echoes of Time, your portal to the forgotten pages of history. We reveal the secrets that lie under the dust of centuries and tell the stories that never made it into the history books. Tonight, we delve into an engagement that defies conventional understanding of warfare, an episode so peculiar it forces us to reevaluate our definitions of conflict, strategy, and even success. What truly happened when man-made warfare met nature's relentless march in 1932? And what profound lessons does this seemingly comical conflict truly hold? Our journey begins in the vast, arid regions of Western Australia, a landscape both breathtaking and unforgiving. This was a land undergoing transformation, where periods of agricultural expansion were rapidly reshaping the natural order. Farmers, seeking to cultivate the earth and establish their livelihoods, pushed the boundaries of settlement. But nature, as it often does, had its own powerful response. Following this period of human expansion, an unexpected, overwhelming migration of emus began. These indigenous, flightless giants, driven by unknown forces, perhaps drought, perhaps the lure of freshly cultivated lands, descended upon the agricultural territories in numbers that defied belief. The impact was immediate and devastating. An estimated 20,000 emus, a living tide of feathered destruction, began to ravage the precious crops that were the lifeblood of these frontier settlements. Imagine the scene. Fields of wheat, painstakingly planted and nurtured, systematically devoured or trampled by these large, powerful birds. For the farmers, it was an existential threat, a creeping agricultural apocalypse. Their livelihoods, their homes, their very future in this harsh land were at stake. Desperation set in, and with it, an appeal that would forever etch this peculiar event into the annals of history. The farmers, with nowhere else to turn, appealed for military assistance. Thus began November 1932, a month that would see an unprecedented deployment of military force against an enemy unlike any other. Major G.P.W. Meredith, a seasoned officer, was dispatched with his team, not to confront a hostile army, but to conduct what was intended to be a swift eradication operation against a formidable natural foe. Their arsenal included Lewis automatic machine guns, sophisticated weaponry designed for the battlefields of human conflict, now aimed at birds. The expectation was clear: superior firepower, disciplined tactics, and human ingenuity would quickly bring the emu population under control, securing the farmers' future. Yet, what unfolded was anything but swift or straightforward. The operation, rather than a decisive victory, quickly devolved into a strategic nightmare. The emus, far from being docile, easily managed targets, proved to be remarkably difficult adversaries. They were highly agile, capable of bursts of speed and unexpected changes in direction, often appearing to move with an uncanny, almost tactical awareness. Their natural instinct for dispersal meant that large groups would scatter at the first sign of danger, melting into the vast Australian bushland, rendering concentrated machine gun fire largely ineffective. The sophisticated weaponry, designed for stationary or slow-moving human targets, found itself hopelessly outmatched by the unpredictable, fluid movements of the emus. Soldiers, trained for conventional warfare, found themselves in a bewildering environment. Attempts to herd the birds into kill zones often failed as the emus outmaneuvered them with ease. The sheer resilience and adaptability of the birds, coupled with the vastness of the landscape, turned every encounter into a frustrating test of endurance. This peculiar conflict, lasting several weeks, saw military resources pitted against an unforeseen enemy. An adversary that responded not with counter-tactics, but with instinct, speed, and an innate understanding of its environment. The results were startling, not just locally, but globally. The world watched, astonished and often amused, as reports trickled out of Australia, detailing a war where the enemy was not only undefeated, but in many ways appeared to be winning. The notion of a modern army being thwarted by birds became a source of both bewilderment and comedic irony. Decades later, historians and commentators continue to debate the true legacy of this war, a term that itself invites scrutiny and various interpretations. The Great Emu War stands as a powerful testament to the complex interplay between human ambition, natural forces, and the unpredictable nature of history. What truly defines this unusual engagement, and what indelible mark did it leave on our understanding of conflict? One prominent perspective argues that the Great Emu War was a prime example of military hubris and a profound underestimation of environmental factors. This viewpoint contends that the military, accustomed to human adversaries and conventional battlefields, approached the problem with a mindset ill-suited for the natural world. There was an inherent belief in the superiority of human technology and strategy, a presumption that any problem could be solved with enough firepower. The complete failure of conventional tactics against an unconventional foe highlights the folly of applying rigid, human-centric solutions to a complex ecological challenge. It suggests a lack of foresight and a dismissive attitude towards the capabilities of nature itself, resulting in a costly and embarrassing miscalculation. This narrative frames the war as a cautionary tale, a stark reminder that even the most advanced weaponry can be rendered useless when confronted by an enemy that operates outside the expected parameters of conflict, an enemy guided by instinct rather than strategy. A second interpretation views the events of 1932 as primarily a challenging pest control operation, perhaps mislabeled as a war, which ultimately revealed the limitations of available technology and the prevailing understanding of wildlife management at the time. From this vantage point, the soldiers were not engaged in warfare in the traditional sense, but rather a large-scale, albeit primitive, attempt at population control. The Lewis automatic machine guns, while powerful, were designed for a different purpose and proved inefficient for the rapid, dispersed movement of thousands of emus across vast, uneven terrain. This perspective minimizes the idea of military failure, instead focusing on the technological constraints of the era and the nascent state of ecological science. It posits that the tools and knowledge required for effective, large-scale wildlife management simply did not exist then. The war was thus a learning experience, a costly experiment that illuminated the need for more sophisticated and nuanced approaches to human-wildlife conflict, rather than a testament to military ineptitude. It underscores the idea that progress in understanding and managing natural populations is an ongoing journey, often fraught with trials and errors. A third, more philosophical perspective views the Great Emu War as a humorous, albeit costly, lesson in adaptive strategies. While the immediate outcome might have been seen as a defeat, this view emphasizes the long-term impact on human thinking. The sheer absurdity of the situation, the image of soldiers battling birds, forced a re-evaluation of how humans interact with and attempt to control natural populations. It highlighted the need for flexibility, for understanding the specific dynamics of a given problem, rather than imposing a one-size-fits-all solution. This viewpoint suggests that sometimes failure can be the greatest teacher, provoking a shift in perspective that ultimately leads to more innovative and effective strategies. The humorous aspect, while seemingly trivial, can be a powerful catalyst for change, allowing society to look at a serious problem through a lighter lens, fostering new ideas and approaches that might otherwise be resisted. It posits that the very strangeness of the conflict made it memorable, ensuring its lessons, however subtle, resonated. Beyond these specific interpretations, the Great Emu War has also been discussed as an early, vivid illustration of human-wildlife conflict predating modern ecological awareness. Before the widespread understanding of biodiversity, ecosystems, and conservation, this event laid bare the profound challenges that arise when human expansion encroaches upon natural habitats. It showcased the devastating consequences for both human livelihoods and animal populations when these boundaries are crossed without careful consideration. In an era before established environmental ethics, The war served as a dramatic, if unintentional, case study in the complexities of managing shared landscapes. It underscores the timeless tension between human development and the preservation of natural systems, a tension that continues to define much of our contemporary world. Could it be that in this bizarre conflict, we find an early echo of the ecological debates that would dominate the later half of the 20th century and beyond? The Great Emu War stands as a compelling, often overlooked reminder that history is full of unexpected twists and turns. It teaches us that battles are not always fought on traditional battlefields against conventional foes with predictable outcomes. Victories are not always conventional, and sometimes the most profound lessons emerge from the most unlikely of struggles. It forces us to reconsider the narratives we construct around conflict and progress, inviting us to look beyond the surface of events to the deeper currents of human nature interaction. Join Echoes of Time as we continue to delve deeper into these truly unique historical engagements, separating fact from legend and uncovering the lasting impact of Australia's most bizarre conflict. What other seemingly comical chapters of our past hold profound insights into humanity's journey? Could it be that the most absurd moments in history are precisely where we find our most critical lessons, waiting to be unearthed, understood, and reflected upon in the mirror of the present?